Sandra, and I'm part of the mechanical subs team and the drive team.
So I'm part of programming and my name is Aiden Yu.
Hi, my name is Marian and I'm a part of mechanical and drive team.
Hi, I'm Cian and I do electrical and mechanical.
I would say it's gone really well. We managed to build what I would believe is a really strong robot with like 5 or 6 weeks, right, to be able to compete in Victoria. You know, that being a week 1 competition, a lot of teams weren't ready for that, but we managed to go out there, we competed, we did really well. So I would say this season's gone very smoothly.
It's going very well. It's a lot of fun, like we're all really productive.
It's going pretty well. So far we've been really successful in competition, so that's really nice to see as we've all put a lot of effort and time into building this robot.
I think we've developed quite well in the aspect of, for me, the electrical side, as this year we had to overcome the decentralization of our electronics. So we couldn't really just go with our one and done centralized circuit board. We had to basically split up subcomponents to different places. So I think we did really well because our robot worked at the end.
Well, obviously we built a robot, right, as is the spirit of robotics, but we also managed to develop like an auto targeting system for game pieces, so the driver gets to spend a little less time trying to line up with like cones and cubes. We also developed an autonomous system that worked pretty much perfectly the entire competition. We actually won the autonomous award for our programmers' work on the autonomous section.
It was the main thing that I worked on balancing because it took a lot of tuning, a lot of time to figure out how it was working, and like a lot of bugs to solve.
This build season, we were able to build a fully functioning robot and compete at comp, and we were able to complete all the objectives and all the tasks, and we performed pretty successfully.
I think I led my electrical team fairly well on to knowing how to build circuits and a functioning robot at the end.
I would say the biggest challenge would be figuring out how to reduce the torque on our arm. Our arm is basically just one giant lever with a fulcrum at the end, and our claw is really heavy, right? So when it would go up and down, it would go really fast, and we had a lot of issues with like the gearbox and with the belts breaking and chains slipping, right? And we had to work for like weeks on solving that issue, getting the claw light enough, making sure the gearboxes had enough power. But in the end, we found a chain and belt system that seems to work really well.
The biggest challenge was the intake and picking up game pieces, because often at times we would get a game piece and then we wouldn't have a good grip on it and it would fall, and then we would lose the point from and then it's just it's just a struggle, you know, like instead of placing it on high, you'd have to go to low, and then after we would lose a lot of points. So coming back after Victoria and fixing that issue really helped our robot, and we think we could perform more successfully in Vegas.
Mostly in the electrical department, because we had a electrical board that had to be split up. So our processor and computer were on the other side, while the power and power distribution stuff were on the other side. So we had to find a way to interconnect those devices together, which led us to creating a little tunnel underneath our robot to both supply power to our motors and information, our CAN bus information system.
I would say the Victoria competition went really well for us as a team. For some of the new members of the robotics team, it was a really great opportunity to see what competition was like and what we did there. Overall, it was also really fun. We had a lot of good food. We went to an arcade. In terms of the more competitive side, we placed 8th overall in terms of teams, and we placed 4th overall in alliances.
It went really well, compared to all the teams and all the big teams as well. It was a lot of fun. We had a really good run. It was a really good time.
It went really well. We placed really high for our rookie competition with the new drivers, and we beat like government sponsored teams. So that's like a big success, kind of like if you keep in mind like the disparities in our funding, like they have a lot more funding than us, but like with the small funding we've had, we are able to build such a successful robot. So that's really nice to see.
I thought Victoria was quite a bit of a learning experience, as in we came back from Victoria and we learned how to, well, we gathered up and had an idea of stabilizing our claw, which really helped for what our ongoing tests were just before Vegas. I think it was a really good idea.
Our goals for Vegas is to hopefully place top 10. Top 15 even would be great because Vegas is in the US and it has a lot of really strong teams from California and Nevada coming to compete. Our drive mentor, Mr. Passmore, also said that if we place top 10, he would probably cry. And we all kind of want to see Mr. Passmore cry, so.
To get first place, or at least do really well, and to have fun with it.
Our goals are to go to Worlds. You know, it's a big competition and we haven't been to Worlds in a while. So going there would be really fun. And yeah, that's just our goals, to place top 10, top 15 hopefully. Yeah.
I think we're a pretty solid team, and we know that there are really, really good teams in Vegas too. But I think we could place fairly high up there. I'm talking about 10th, 15th, let's say. But I think main goal is try not to break stuff. But if it happens, I'm gonna just brief up my crew right after this interview.
My favorite memory from robotics would probably be during Victoria when we went to the arcade. We spent about like 45 minutes to an hour there, but I think it was a really like nice way for the entire team to kind of like decompress right before a really large competition. And the arcade was filled with like retro video games.
It's a lot of fun. It's a really nice just group of people to be with. It's like nice to see like your work pay off and like see everything that you worked for.
Favorite memory has just like been experiencing multiple things with your friends, because you know, like just going through trials and tribulations and being able to work together just like fostered a greater bond between the robotics team. Even at competition, like after the competition ended, going home with your friends and just relaxing, it just creates like really good memories just to have in the future. Yeah.
Ooh, I'd really like that. From when I joined robotics in grade 10, we were basically in the middle of the pandemic, and that really cut off kind of like ability to interact with people in a normal way, because everybody was wearing masks and distancing. But jumping to our last year's season, I really think that I built some team member skills, and knowing how to communicate to other parts of our team just really made my experience here in Manning Robotics was very memorable, as in I'd probably take the way I communicate here and also how I conduct myself from robotics probably to all the way through until I get a job.